All right.
Get him out of
All
there.
right.
So let's get started.
Hello,
The
hello.
second
Hey,
episode
let's do this.
of the League of Ordinary Jabronis podcast of the Dynasty variety. And
Hello.
football's back.
Oh, football's back. We
Thank
already
the
have all
football
the
gods.
injuries.
Yeah, all the injuries.
I mean,
What injuries? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, nothing.
Never heard of them. My
Mhm,
guys are
mhm.
impeccable. They're fine. They're totally not getting CTE right now.
I don't think I've seen as many injuries in week one as this week.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's
They were getting hurt before the fucking game.
well,
Yeah, that's been,
The,
that's been real bad.
Like Travis Kelce hyperextending his knee the day before his game was just mind-boggling to me.
I
Like,
saw.
the whole tight end thing this week.
We'll get to
I
tight
don't know.
ends. We'll get to tight ends. But did you see? I saw a post by one of those Twitter docs, the guys that are like doctors but also super interested in fantasy, talking about how much blood they took out of Travis Kelce's knee. Being
No.
like, he looked at that and was like, "Yeah, that's not a good look." So.
No.
Hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later because the game is definitely better with him in it than out. And I'm sure Kansas City fans are eagerly awaiting him to return. So, yeah, that's
without him. It looks really bad.
it. Really does. It looked rough. The Lions just put a clinic on him. Honestly,
True.
who
Really
is
true.
who is on that offense that anyone is at all excited about?
You mean,
Kansas City or
Yeah, KC. Nobody.
I mean, Pat Mahomes. That's it. Without Kelce.
Yeah, but skill. I'm talking skill positions. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, but
I mean, that's what I was saying.
Well,
Isaiah
Rice.
Pacheco, Rashee Rice. That's it. I get,
Pacheco Pacheco didn't have a good game. I can tell you because I started him. But he from all the hype, from preseason whatever, he did all the things. Caught them. Well, he had the most receptions on the team, which is always a bad sign. He was obviously the lead back. I mean, it was just a terrible fantasy game. Yeah.
Awful.
I mean, how much do you attribute that to early season rust? These players not really getting much action in preseason. It's always like this because I saw a stat that I think it was this year season or the first week of the season was the lowest amount of offensive production in terms of touchdowns in 3 years or something like that. At least the last 2 years by a wide margin. So,
I mean, after the shortened preseason, all these none of these guys you draft.
Yeah, I mean,
first few rounds get reps really.
We're really talking about kind of since the rule change, in a lot of ways, right? Because
which one?
The one that
shortened
changes 4 to
that
3
added the game.
Yeah, so the 17th week, right? That's the
Yeah.
latest.
Yeah, extending the schedule. So there's
Yeah,
an additional
exactly.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge factor in that. So this is the third season, right? Because it was introduced in 21 for the 21 season, the 22 season. This is the 20. This is the third season.
But even prior
this
to
is
that,
of those past 3 years, that's what I mean.
even prior to that, it's always felt like off of preseason, teams just come in super cold every single year. And personally, I think it's because of the onus on coaching staffs to use the preseason as a glorified rookie camp, because that's when they pull in all the undrafted guys and then put them in game action and make cuts and stuff. So.
You have to kind of put some of this on the veterans. For example, let's use Tyler Lockett. This pissed me off all weekend. I don't even have him in I think I have him in one of my redraft leagues that I just are for shits and giggles. He came out with the worst cardio I've ever seen. Literally the first play he was on oxygen. And he's 140 pounds soaking wet. How are you not doing cardio in the off season, getting ready when you've had it would only even take you 4, even if you took the whole summer off and you just did cardio for the last 4 weeks, there is no way you should be huffing and puffing and like passing out on the sideline after the first play of the game. I'm sorry, but and it wasn't even like he got hit because it was just from running. Like I don't understand that at all. Someone like him is the kind of person you need to be setting the tone for the rest of the team to be doing their workouts without the team, right? So if someone like him isn't doing it, imagine how many other people aren't doing it on the Seahawks. And the same goes for every other team. You have to have good veterans that get other veterans and rookies and sophomores, whatever you want to call them, together to do the workouts in the offseason because they can't practice together, but they can work out. They can get together and do little workouts together, and as long as there's no football involved and they're just lifting weights and doing cardio, like
football's
there's
unique.
no reason for them to be able to or there's no reason for them to come out that out of shape ever.
Football's unique because it's not exactly a game that you can practice as a game. Like you can get the boys together and
you can
toss some balls around.
You can throw some balls around. You can play some tag, some flag football or whatever. But it's not like basketball where you can do 5-on-5s with other pros.
I mean, you can run some routes, but that's about it.
No one's getting two full NFL or even 7-on-7 rosters together and hitting each other full speed in the off season. So it's not like you can really get that kind of practice in. So. I think it just boils down to what the game is.
Honestly, I really think it's important for veteran players to play in the preseason.
I think it's just the preseason ramp up.
I don't.
It's the going from workout and normal cardio stuff to like preseason game speed, then to actual game speed. If you don't have that ramp up, you're always going to be winded the first couple weeks because you're just not in shape.
Mm-hmm. I don't think veterans should be playing in the preseason more than the first 3 series, because all you're doing is risking your veteran players in games that don't matter.
I don't disagree there. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's 100% fair.
You get them warmed up, you get them off, and you continue evaluating your second and third string players who are trying to make the team.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what those games are for. But there is still there's a limit to how much you're willing to invest those starters.
Because you're putting your highly paid starter in front of an undrafted free agent on the other side of the ball that's going to hit you as hard as they fucking can.
Yeah,
because they're trying to get a job.
They're trying to get on the
they're trying to get on a team, and so there's an impulse there, especially in the final games of a preseason, to rest starters, and I think that is the most important game to play starters for at least
the only kind of starter that should be playing in the preseason are people like Anthony Richardson,
rookies,
John Robinson,
the
guys that are definitely going to be starters, but they're still rookies and they need that NFL rep, to really get punched in the face, because they're going from college, which is again, it's fast paced, but you're going from, it's like the transition from high school to college. You're the big fish in the little pond, and then you go to college, and now you're the big fish in the big pond. And when you go from college to the NFL, you're the giant fish in the ocean. So it's like,
right.
You're also you're also bringing into people kids from college that didn't play in the SEC and played in smaller divisions. And you just don't have the same level of competition throughout.
I don't care if you played in the SEC or if you played in the Big Ten or if you played in the Pac-12. Okay, I don't give a fuck if you played at some D2 random school. Look at Cooper Kupp. It doesn't matter. Sometimes people get missed. People get missed every day.
It's not about the point wasn't the smaller school. If the smaller schools have less talent, you're gonna be they're gonna be trying way harder than all the guys that got drafted. All those small school kids started at disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're gonna be trying harder. They're gonna, if you put Patrick Mahomes out there, some linebacker's gonna try and kill him because
some 4th round undrafted walk-on dude that just got an invite to camp that still made it to preseason is definitely going to try and murder Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's why that's the thing. It's that's how you get onto a roster. It's it's the small schools that it's the guys that don't have the pedigree that are going to get cut.
Yeah,
they play hard, but that's the risk, obviously. but you still got to do it, I think.
That's something the Seahawks used to be good at doing, is finding kids from random schools that out of nowhere, and they're no longer good at that.
Yeah, I do not trust Bobo to make that fucking jump.
They still have a pretty long streak of undrafted free agents making the team, right?
Yeah, but it's like impact players. There hasn't been an undrafted dude since Puna was the last undrafted guy that actually stuck around for a while.
Mhm.
Like, other than that, it was like Doug Baldwin. Like, there's so few of those guys that really stick around.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
Austin, like people like Austin Eckler don't show up. Like, that's not a thing, dude. Like, it's such an anomaly.
That's so true.
Well, how's your matchups go?
So
I mean, the Dynasty League went great, but I got swept by Steve. And
Not to say I won everything but the Dynasty League, so yeah, my sweep of Trevor was complete.
let's see here. I did say that the Blubber Bowl, and I only used that term because the name of your team is the Blubber Buds. It has nothing to do with Josh's team. It's just
who won that, by the way? I
immediate
forgot to
thing that
look.
came to mind.
You did? Good
Yeah,
shit.
Joe ended up winning. I think
It was so close.
we were right, man. It came down to the wire because at the end of the week on Monday, it was really close. We'd seen defensive players just blow up left and right all over the league all week long, and it could have been Jordan Poyer with the pick six to just completely destroy Joe's week, but it didn't
totally
happen.
could have happened.
It didn't
I
happen.
thought Rodgers was going to do that, to be honest. I was like, Rodgers going to do some hero ball because it's week 1 in a new city, doing some dumb shit, and he's going to throw a pick.
You weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. I mean, to bring it slightly back to the injuries, I mean, he was trying to do some stupid throwaway shit when he should have taken a sack, and that's what popped him. So,
did you see the picture of him getting tackled where he tore his Achilles?
I did.
I've seen the video.
I've seen the video.
There is a. It
is very rough.
Sports in 2023, especially this one, is just like gnarly because you can see in 4K. Your foot's not supposed to bend that way. Like
unprecedented detail. Yeah, I don't.
It's like
it's not great. It's not great.
It's not
in
good.
the moment, it looked like a little kid falling down. It didn't even look like anything.
When you see the picture, it's like.
Well, yeah, I mean, he got up and tried to put weight on it, and was
that's
"No,
an Achilles." It's like
Jesus. Yeah, there's
Christ.
very few moments in sports where it's an obvious Achilles. Like
that was one of them. Yeah.
That one, I think Kevin Durant was an obvious one in the finals. Mm-hmm. Kobe Bryant was an obvious one.
There's
so few obvious ones.
Just to say your shin shouldn't be parallel to your ankle.
No.
Your physiology is not designed to work like that. And that's basically what happened to Aaron Rodgers. I talk a lot of shit about Aaron Rodgers, but I really felt bad for him in that moment.
This sucked for a lot of reasons.
I wanted to see if he could do the same thing Tom Brady did and take that bottom of the bargain bin franchise somewhere, especially because those players are so exciting. Like,
Williams. I mean, he basically inherited.
You neglect to mention the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had one of the best fucking head coaches that you can get in the NFL when Tom Brady came down there.
Oh, for sure.
And the best wide receiver duo at the time.
Facts. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are insane.
They also had that.
And they were healthy, too, at the time.
They had that crazy veteran effect where there was energy there, and then all the really good veterans decided they wanted to play there. And so you just had this perfect storm of elite defense and elite offense with some of the guys that just emptied the chamber at the very end of their careers, basically, to get it done. And they did. And in my opinion, Tom should have that was the mic drop moment when he won that Super Bowl. He should have just stopped.
Gone. Yeah,
but he wanted to keep pushing it, and I don't blame him because he's a gamer. But
what do you mean? He's gonna be a Jet this week, dude. They're calling him right now. I'm telling you,
he might be a Jet. Dude, he's gonna be an owner of the Raiders and a Jet.
That way.
No, I mean, Quinnen Williams was the reason I wasn't worried about that matchup too much because Buffalo's line is trash. It's not good.
They got wrecked that entire game by Jets defenders.
See, that's hard.
They were everywhere.
That's hard to really gauge because the Buffalo line the last couple of years has been good.
It's been okay on the pass defense.
The
but
Jets,
the run
Jets defense
running backs
could easily be top 5.
You
maybe
can't throw
top
4
3.
picks and not lose.
Yeah, no, you definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is
you definitely
the pass
Fuck the
rush?
line. The line. No. You can't blame the O line for the quarterback shitting the bed. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
he had enough time, and you know what? Even under pressure, a good quarterback is throwing it away. And I'm not trying to say Josh Allen's a terrible quarterback. He made some of the worst decisions he could. I saw him throwing into triple coverage constantly.
Yeah, he's throwing right in the middle of the field, right in a double and triple coverage.
Why are you airballing it?
2/3 of his plays. It's like, oh, cool, you're punting. Great. Stop punting with your arm on second down.
Just throw the ball away.
That's why, I was talking about my matchup. I have Quinn Williams. I knew he was going to score, what he did. He was going to beat the guy in front of him. I didn't play Dexter Lawrence because he was going to be running against Zach Martin the entire game. And I don't care, who he's going up against Zach Martin. Zach Martin's going to win that matchup.
Well, congratulations on winning the Blubber Bowl of the bowl that is named after your own team. I don't know if you match up against
in the real league.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you match up against Josh later in the season, but I'm sure that next time you play him, he's going to be out for blood. So we'll be watching that.
I'm going to lose so bad
interest.
the next time around, just for the karmic effect, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. This is like a near
fantasy.
This is like exactly what happened to me, except I'm on Josh's side here. In my matchup, his Tony to my T Higgins. Existing in Dropsvilles.
Here's the thing. We all had a goose egg. There's so many players we have to play. Everybody got a goose egg. It's just who had a couple of players.
Who had a couple more blow off.
I had TJ Watt. He popped off and played essentially 2 players. Gave me 2 players worth of points.
Easily.
So it's like.
If someone played Darius Slay, same thing. I don't even know if he's rostered.
He's not.
No.
He's not.
Yeah,
no.
He's not rostered.
I don't think he's not going to be rostered long, though.
Yeah. He had the most points last week, or this week, or whatever.
I mean, that's the thing, though, is, IDP scoring like that is kind of swingy, and there's a lot of defensive players still on the waiver wire. So there's almost always going to be a dude who blows up on the waiver wire and then is quiet for the next 5 weeks.
So after the
QBs don't want to throw at him.
After the Thursday game, Josh noticed there were some problems with the scoring, and Steve and I looked at it. We ran the numbers, and we came up with a solution that we thought made sense, and that was to take the amount of points that the defensive players get for interceptions from 8 to 4 points, so having that amount. And that ended up being the right move. I ran the numbers to make sure that that was the right change to make, and it did bring defensive backs more in line with linemen and linemen and DBs. Sorry, but the thing is that we want to make sure that defensive backs and linemen and linebackers are all somewhat in the same realm of relevance, because with other scoring formats for IDP, which, by the way, I think is still being figured out in the industry, you can either go 2 ways with it. One way is you focus on tackles, and if you got lots and lots of points for making tackles, you're going to get more consistency out of your defensive players, because it's a lot easier to predict how many tackles a player is going to get because they're more common. It's like yardage. Your guy's going to get yards. Your guy isn't necessarily going to get a touchdown every week, just like your guy isn't necessarily going to get an interception every week. But the issue with that format is all of the important players are going to end up being just linebackers. And there's more to defense than just being a linebacker. So Steve and went with.
If you think that the defensive scoring is broken now, wait till you look at a tackle dominant league, because it's like linebackers are scoring like quarterbacks, and there's 3 times as many linebackers as there are quarterbacks.
And the
league.
best
Problem
players aren't
tackling-
necessarily the best defensive players. That's the
Right.
other thing. It's like
tackling is like a general stat for scoring is like not all tackles are created equal. Like in
Correct.
this league, like tackles for losses are obviously worth more because you can distinguish them.
correct.
But like
They also
a
stack.
tackle from like a safety is not the same as a tackle from a linebacker, which is not the same as a
Right.
tackle from deep like a defensive end or whatever.
Yeah, like a
And,
tackle for a lineman's gonna be like a glorified block almost, because they're blocking somebody and then they shift
Bonk.
away and then pull
Yeah.
the guy down with them. Whereas a tackle in open space on a guy who's receiving the ball that ends up in an incompletion is worlds different.
Yeah, and you're not, and like as important as tackles are, like fundamentally, it's the end of a play. It's an important thing. Like
Correct.
that's not.
They're
to say
also
that's,
super
like,
common.
Yeah,
So
it's just
They happen at the end of every play.
in
pretty
tackle
much.
heavy leagues, those players who tackle often are rewarded greatly for just tackling all the time, even though they may not necessarily have affected the game that much. Like, look at Bobby Wagner got like 20 tackles this week, and they lost by 30 points almost, like, or 23, 27 points. So
it was bad. Yeah.
it was
I mean,
bad.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
Steve and I looked at the different philosophies and decided it makes the most sense to focus on this kind of big play scoring system where you award big chunk points for plays like breaking up passes, getting interceptions, sacks, huge tackles for loss, those things. So we're going to have to probably tweak things as we go along. I wrote a Python script where I can plug in the values for fantasy points and then generate a list of players based on their rankings and then or stat production, and we can kind of use data analytics using coding to figure out what the best format should be in the future. But I think what we have now is really good, and I think we're gonna see after the change. Yeah, it was a lot closer to what I think it should be, but there are more changes I think we should make that make a lot of sense, and I'll get to them later in the season. Closer to the end of the season, we'll start thinking about changes that we want to make and really locking those in. But for now, I think what we've got is really strong. I'm happy with it. I think that we're going to see more really crazy weeks like this week where defense ends up scoring a lot of points out of nowhere for a lot of players. But everyone has to remember, and the thing is that defense is going to be way deeper on the wire than offense always. But the thing is that you have to remember is that there are far more variance with those plays, because while it may feel like you can just go to the wire and play anybody that's there and get 20 points from them, you're not going to get that consistently, and that's not going to be a winning formula. So
the other thing too is like, I mean, the variance is true with IDP players. The general idea behind like who to play is generally the same as like offensive players. Like you still want like play your stars,
right?
Matchups matter. Like all the
snap percentage. Are they on the
snap
field?
Percentage.
Yeah,
snap percentage is huge.
Are they playing against an offensive line that's trash?
Yeah.
You know, like things like that. It's the same concept as like starting an offensive player.
Start DLs against the Bears.
Yeah, things like that.
Fuck's sake.
Like, don't start any defense. Don't start anybody that's going to have to go up against the Dallas O line. Like we all saw the Giants like score. Like that was was brutal. Like I'm sure that defense won people their leagues the week, like in like redraft leagues.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean there are IDP players on Dallas that have definitely sitting on the wire right now. That
actually, this is a good example of like
they'll stay there.
Yeah, they will probably for this league, but.
Yeah. I mean Stephon Gilmore like went the fuck.
It's the
off.
first game of the season.
If they consistently produce,
if people blow their load on a bunch of defensive players early in the season, because what you got to realize is like a lot of the time defenses show out in the early. Me and Blar were talking about this on Sunday when we were playing, because offenses are kind of out of step, and it's a lot easier for a defense to take advantage of that. There's a lot of film on an offense, so you can see who the outliers are, kind of. But about halfway through the season, those same defensive players that are popping off right now are going to be on a team that is 2-5, and they're going to not perform because they don't want to. They don't see the reason to, unless so that they don't want to put their body on the line for a team that isn't going to make the playoffs.
You see people protecting themselves.
Yeah.
Some business
this
decisions.
Is like the same thing though, is like the kind of core tenets of who gets drafted, like at the top end of like every drafts. It's like you're looking for the star players on good teams that have consistent production. Like it's like
that are on a team that are probably going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so going back to like the Dallas thing, like I don't know if anybody's going to pick up Stephon Gilmore, but like that cornerback duo is like they're elite. You got to throw at somebody. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Someone's getting points.
I agree.
Or maybe pick up the safeties, like, because that's what's probably going to get challenged more than the boundaries in that, and they're going to ask quarterbacks to throw at the middle, and woof, that ain't great.
They didn't even have one of their best DBs. Donovan Wilson didn't even play. He was out, and they still absolutely destroyed them. Absolutely destroyed them.
It's a crazy secondary.
Yeah, I have Trayvon Diggs, and like he didn't, get I don't think he had like any really big plays, like, but he still had like a pass defense and a forced fumble and got above 10 points with like the sack, like not sacks, but like tackles, and like that's a good game. That's still a
great game. It's a great game. I mean, shit, if you're a DB and you defended the pass and forced a fumble, like, that's great. Good game.
You're going to beat your projection every week if you do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which they're not.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. There's a lot of goose eggs coming on the defensive side.
If you do have one that's doing that, they're worth a first-round pick. They're worth a top-end wide receiver. Get them on your team, because they're going to be a difference maker for you. Because all the guys that went and got 20, 30 points this week will probably get like 6 next week.
Yeah.
That's just how it is with IDP.
I mean, it depends. You can look at matchups, right? And you can kind of see what player pays attention more to what film, right?
Right.
Because like certain players are gonna like work on other teams better. Like if we're gonna bring up, we'll say Darius Slay, right? Because he's the top scoring DB. I mean, every year other than 2019, Minnesota, he dumps on Minnesota. So it's like maybe there's something to be seen there,
Yeah.
So
it's also a Thursday night game.
I guess it's not every year, but quite a few years.
He has played big against Minnesota in his career.
So I don't know.
Minnesota also has a propensity to play down to their competition and get into crazy shootouts all the time.
Yeah, with everyone.
Like weren't they in that historic Colts game last year where the Colts were up like 38-0 or some shit, and then they came back and won it? Was that? I think that was Minnesota.
I think so. That sounds right.
It was the one. Wasn't it the Jeff Saturday game? The one where he came back. It was like the Saturday night football game or whatever, and it was Jeff Saturday.
The 39
that's right.
And then they ended up losing.
Yeah, that's right.
because it was like 36 or 33-0 at half, and then they came out and just banged them.
Yeah,
out.
Chargers fans don't know shit about games like that though. So Minnesota's the only one who can lay claim to games like that.
Well.
I mean, Atlanta's got a big one up there for that one.
We won't talk about that.
We don't need to go to 28-3 anymore.
Sad.
It just hurts, man.
Yeah, Shanahan. It's the biggest knock against Shanahan, right?
Then again, I didn't win a bet at a bar because of that.
It was true. So how about we go to the film room? You guys want to look at some film?
Oh, yeah, let's watch some film.
All right. We're going to go through the highlights from last week, or last week.
Some select highlights.
Yeah, we'll we wanted to go through and look at some of these plays because there were some really cool ones, and the boys wanted to talk about some of this stuff and fantasy implications, just real life football, whatever. So this first one here is a Tua to Tyreek Hill play. It's pretty nasty.
Josh Boyer. Yep. So that was a interesting call. And look,
I think wasn't Tua like the best quarterback this week?
Yeah.
All right,
He's my boy.
that's what you want to see, like from every throw, right? But I want you to skip to
interesting call.
8:54 really quick after this one.
Yeah, we're just gonna watch this again. Just the separation, man. He's so fast.
He's so fast.
Who does he have beat there? I did not catch the number on the Chargers.
I mean, he's gonna have anybody beat there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are.
It doesn't even matter. You can't catch Tyreek Hill. Once he's in a straight line, it's over. You're not catching him.
Yeah.
What? So you said the other one that you wanted to see was?
Yeah, since we're talking about Tua here, go to 850. All right, this is also the problem, right? So he likes to air the ball out, and he throws it right to four defenders over there. So it's like, even with a player like Tua, who makes the big plays, he also makes the biggest blunders, right? So it's always so dangerous playing quarterbacks like him because, again, he could have a Josh Allen moment and throw 4 of those in a game.
It kind of reminds me of Jameis Winston to a degree, which was awesome for fantasy because that dude would just chuck it and he would get his receivers to produce.
Sometimes they got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Evans, like whole career, like 1,000 yards every season, like clockwork.
That's what always the off-putting thing for Tua for me is I don't know if he's gonna ball out or just completely crumble every week because of stuff like that.
Well, it's really hard to say based on what happened last year with him because you can't predict injuries and concussions are really hard injuries to deal with.
Well, again, he's at risk. So if you want to bring that, he's at risk right now. At any point in time to just be like, I'm retiring. This is scary. I don't want to get CTE. I've been hit in the head too many times. Like,
I mean, will we see? Is he Andrew Luck too? You know, will we see somebody like him progress as a quarterback and become this prolific offensive, just mastermind that, like Luck, who just can't keep going because of how physical the game is? Because I think Andrew Luck was struggling with some pretty serious mental things that really drove him to quitting.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing that happened to like Calvin Ridley when he stepped away. I mean, it didn't help that he was gambling afterwards, and so that was where the year came from.
That was stupid. That's a different discussion.
But it was like half the season and then a year. The year came off of like the suspension for the gambling, but but he didn't go. He wasn't hurt. Except, well, he was hurt actually. But even still, it was like, yeah.
It's for next week. Get your New England Patriot DBs ready, because he's throwing a pick to one of them. He's just gonna
probably the over under on him throwing a pick is. I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
You're also looking pretty good to get a couple of touchdowns from him at least. Maybe even a rushing touchdown. He runs around a little bit. He scrambles.
I mean, he scrambles just like... I mean, I think there are only a few quarterbacks you could call like running quarterbacks. Everybody else kind of scrambles. Like, you know?
Yeah, but
Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, Mahomes. None of them are like running quarterbacks. They just scramble a lot and like get yards.
They're
some
not
like
that
Justin
don't
Fields
at all. There are a couple quarterbacks every year who have like single digit yards or negative yardage rushing.
I mean, their name was Kirk Cousins. Kirk doesn't run.
But remember, Tom Brady was really funny about his rushing yardage. There's that one game, I think it was 2 years before he retired, where he got it was like over 1,000 yards rushing in his career. And he was really funny about kneeling down at the end of the game. They brought in a rookie, like their practice squad guy basically that they have is just standing there in case he gets hurt.
Oh, so he didn't take the negative yards.
Yeah, because he was like, no, I'm like 2 yards over my 1,000 yards or whatever. I'm not kneeling down.
I'm not doing this.
And I'm Tom Brady, so I could do that.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
Trots out Garoppolo.
So let's look at this next play here is I believe the fattest play to sit on the bench in terms of, or on the waiver wire, I think. I don't think Darius Slay is even rostered right now, which is fucking crazy to me, but
yeah, that's an oversight.
Someone will pick him up because this.
Trying to tire out the D-line.
Pass.
Tip drill.
Deflected and picked off.
I mean, did he really find that ball? I don't know. I think he got a nice perfect tip drill. It shows he's been practicing. Says he did the reps.
He's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I don't think that
A
necessarily.
little bit of luck there.
I mean, that's about as. I mean, that's the same level as luck as like that Brian Branch.
Hold back. Hold this thing back.
Tire out the D-line.
There's a I think a wide receiver.
Intercepted.
It's a tip ball.
I know, yeah, but
it's the Kadarius Toney effect, man.
It's Mac Jones. It's Mac Jones who just did nothing there. It's a little better.
That's more luck than anything. Like, yeah, that took talent to recognize the tip drill happening, but he didn't hunt the quarterback's eyes down and see that that's where he was going to throw the ball. Like we saw, what was it last night with Josh Allen? They got picked apart. Like, that's a little different. I think that's a great pick, but I don't think that anyone should be jumping out of their seat to grab Darius Slay.
It's a hands pick. It's a hands pick.
Darius Slay was money last year.
Yeah, I don't think it I mean, interceptions are notoriously unstable. So I don't think anybody should be going to running around trying to hunt whoever has got the last interception.
Look,
no.
It's the same thing as chasing running backs who get those fluky 2 touchdown games on the waiver wire offensively. You're chasing the guy who gets the interception every week. You're going to get burned. Just like you're going to get burned by the guy who gets the touchdown randomly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a Xander Horvath every week who vultures a touchdown from a very important fantasy player.
Where there's a touchdown that doesn't matter. It's garbage time, and that's super unpredictable too.
That's going to happen with defense too, though. There's going to be intercept people in this league are going to lose games based on that garbage time Hail Mary int. And people are going to get upset about it. But that's how the game works.
I don't think, because if it's not a pick six, it's not very many points. I mean, look at Jordan Whitehead underscored Darius Slay, and Jordan.
Well, it depends on what else they do.
3 picks.
I mean, an int is 10 points. So.
Mm-hmm. And pick 6 is 20, so that's a big swing.
I mean, before the change, Brian Branch off that 1 pick and 2 tackles was outscoring Mahomes.
He had 27 points.
Yeah.
But we changed it because we realized that was a little absurd. Now you might also just to go back to that rule change discussion, you might think, well, why is an interception 4 points and why is a PBU 6? PBUs are more common. Well, the reason for that is if you don't do that, then defensive backs don't do anything. They don't score points in fantasy if they're not breaking up passes. Ideally,
they're not supposed to catch the ball anyways. They'd be wide receivers if they were supposed to catch the ball.
Think about it this way. Exactly. Interception is a pass breakup. You just get a bonus if you intercept it.
Right.
And so we're not really it's a pass breakup with an interception bonus is how you should think about
correct.
A player with an in.
I mean, it's the same thing as a quarterback hit versus a sack. Quarterback hits are 1, sacks are 5.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Sleeper doesn't let you score QB pressures. Sleeper doesn't let you score defensive statistic categories based on their position. So ideally, what Steve and I would prefer is to give a bonus to defensive backs and then have linebacker batted passes be less. So that defensive backs doing what defensive backs do best get scored more points so that there would be more parity between the positions. If we could do that, then we could do things like QB pressures for linemen so that they would get more points for doing what linemen do best, you know? So we can't do that, so we're working within the parameters that we're given.
A heads-up play by a lineman who gets his paw up and knocks the pass away is a pretty impactful play on the game, too.
For sure.
You should be scoring that relevantly for those linemen, especially the heads-up ones who get their hand up. Like, that's a good play. It's a heads-up veteran move to do that. We should be rewarding that with scoring.
That's what I was just trying to say. Because it's like, a lineman's never going to be in the way of a pass, but if he can figure out a way to get there, he should be rewarded for it.
There was that Trayvon Walker pick from off Carson Wentz in the pocket last year.
Yeah.
That no one seems to care about. That was fucking hilarious.
And that Linval Joseph lineman, the big boy touchdown a couple years back, where it's just weird, the ball that bounced around weird, and then Linval Joseph ended up with it and was like shuffling towards the end zone.
Watching a lineman try and get up to full speed is just like so ridiculous,
but also scary.
No one can bring him down.
Exactly,
he's, like, giant.
It's like that DK Metcalf Buda Baker highlight where he caught up with him. It's like if that was a lineman, DK wouldn't be bringing that motherfucker down.
True.
Maybe. I don't know, man. DK's a freak.
Inertia.
DK might not have had enough speed at that point because like the lineman wouldn't have made it as far as Buddha.
That's a physics experiment that someone needs to figure out at some point. But let's shift to the one of the highlights from I think Jordan's fantasy day.
But the Buckner
the Buckner scoop and score, which when you see this is the most
this is the wildest play.
Well, this is I wouldn't call it wild. I call it scuffed.
It's so scuffed. Everyone's just staring at the ground.
Lawrence hit.
And they're all I guess the play's dead. Oh, now we're gonna fight. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
Live ball.
Oh shit!
See it.
Buckner's heads up veteran move, scores a touchdown. It's like
Was that Shaq Leonard?
live ball.
Yeah,
this is Shaq Leonard near many plays
there
on
was
that
no
team.
whistle. Lawrence was down.
Oh my god. That's like a high school play right there, like an accidental, like. Well, the whistle blew, right? And everybody just stares at each other.
I mean, that is the perfect example of like why preseason, like not playing people in preseason, like fucks with people because it's just like no one like people are just like I don't know out of it. I can't. It's not. It's I don't know what's going on there, but like it's just
comedy.
like a failure there.
Comedy.
The big boy gets a 6.
You know
Let's
what?
Go.
You know what? As Casey always says, it counts. Congratulations, Jordan, on your incredible performance from your player. But honestly, DeForest Buckner, that dude is a vet. Like he knew that. But all the rookies stand around going, "Okay, all right, you know what's going on." You know, they're just kind of.
Why is it?
How are they just gonna let that big ass dude run by them at full speed and not be like, "What's that guy doing?"
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Like.
DeForest Buckner is also, you know, one of the best defensive players in the league. So, you know, doing what he does, that's not pretty, but you know, it counts.
It counts.
It's points.
All right, the next one here. Let's get a little. We've been talking a lot about defense. Offense matters too. This is a good precursor. This is going to be a good precursor to.
This is going to be all year.
Hang out on
all year. This is going to happen.
This is going to be a good precursor to our conversation in a little bit here about running backs. So I think this is a good way to kick it off. Congratulations, Casey, for drafting this guy, for being lucky enough to get the last pick in the startup draft, and then getting
the first
pick in the rookie draft. Because
this kid's going to be special, man.
Is going to be a staple of fantasy for a long time.
For at least 3 to 4 years.
The Falcons are so lucky to have this kid. Because his vision here is just elite. Right there.
He splits him, goes right in. He makes him miss, splits him, and goes right in.
It doesn't look like much, but it's a lot.
There's so much there because like the pacing, hitting with the stutter step, like you get the different leverages to collide with each other, and then you take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean,
the
look how
work on
fast
the
he
angles
goes.
to get
like,
them.
Makes him miss, and he speeds up right there and gets right through him at the
boom.
Like that cut that he cuts right between them.
He makes them block each other.
It's so bad.
The way he twists his body to get that off too is just like impressive.
That's what I'm saying, because he takes a cut. Like,
yeah, it's just like this
so he
is
stutter steps, makes him miss, cut right here, goes up between the two. Like,
I mean, but this is why he was the 101 in every like dynasty draft. Like, I don't think anybody didn't take him. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the clip that you're going to see in the Top Billing episode next week. It's like, whoa, that man's in the shadow realm right there. The first guy. Also, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go hit up Top Billing right now because that YouTube channel is so funny.
Yeah, that dude's entertaining for sure.
He really is.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that one. His clip on B. John Robinson's going to be fire. But yeah, man, that dude is the Falcons, straight up.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's going to be interesting to watch is how quickly he takes over that backfield.
Oh, it's done.
That's his backfield already. That's his.
I mean,
you have Tyler Algier, right?
How interesting.
He's only going to last like a few more weeks before it's like very.
Well, I don't know about that because Arthur Smith apparently is under the impression that this offense should be run like a 1940s football team. So, I think a lot of
your Kyle Pitts and Drake London picks.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the end of it. They're going to run the ball. And did you see the press conference afterward when the reporters were asking him about Drake London and Kyle Pitts' usage? He said, that's for the fantasy people to figure out. So,
I mean, if they don't
start this on purpose.
Yeah, it's on purpose. It's also like it's the Falcons, and if he doesn't have a winning season next year, he's on the hot seat.
Oh yeah, he's gone, and then they're gonna bring in. Okay, so I think he's working with what he's got. Desmond Ridder isn't necessarily a generational prospect at quarterback. He knows what he's got here. I feel like if they had a prototypical Matt Ryan guy again, it would be a much more pass-friendly offense. But they've got some really good running backs, and the Falcons have one of the best offensive lines in the league.
I like that we're returning to the running back style offense. It's way more entertaining than just seeing
pass.
Pass over the middle, because the zone defense crap that has happened over the last 15 years is so boring. All it is dump checkdowns to the middle of the field to your tight end or to some wide receiver making a cut route across the middle, over and over and over with the occasional long bomb. They aren't running these crazy routes. They're just running straight line routes.
Well, it's like we were talking about in the last episode. All these trends from college eventually bleed into the professional game. And then what we were seeing in that era where the air raid offense was vogue was you had these Cliff Kingsbury types coming in and just throwing the ball 50 times a game. And we're starting to see more committee running back systems work its way in, more of a grinding, slow ground game. I think we're going to see scoring go down. And in fantasy, I think we might even see running backs make a resurgence because the last 2 or 3 years, it's just been wide receivers. They're deep. There's always wide receivers available on the wire. I think we might be seeing wide receivers lose some value to running backs, and there'll actually be some options for people to play in fantasy at the running back position. So I'm here for it. I like the run game. I like dual threat running backs like B. John Robinson that can catch passes, like the Alvin Kamara's when he was a rookie was like he was just slippery. It was like this man can't.
I mean, that's why Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey because he does both.
Passes, that's great for fantasy points.
Yep.
I mean, ever since like Mahomes, like people had to finally figure out Mahomes, and it was just we're gonna go the too high Vic Fangio thing. Like there has been this kind of like slow trend to getting like running backs back into the game. Like it's pretty slow, but like the too high thing definitely started the like we're not going to allow like as many deep shots. Like,
but then we saw it not work. I think last year we had 3 different professional teams trying to copy that style. I think it was Green Bay, the Lions, and the Seahawks. All were doing that too high safety thing basically every play, and it was not working.
Yeah.
The Seahawks kept trying to do it. The Lions kept trying to do it, but we saw Green Bay transition away from that to more of a man scheme, and it worked for them. And because they were like, we don't have the personnel to run this style of defense. And they ended up they were so much better later into the season.
Just had to go back to the old trusty 4-3 cover 2.
You're going to see the results of that new hybrid style from week 1 later.
Yeah, we'll get to that, Steve.
Yeah,
you can roster bait to Quay Walker all you want once we get to that.
I mean, it's more than
the same. Like back to like what
on the whole defense that we want to sell.
Well, back to what like Trevor was saying about like the cover zone, like just using zone to cover. Like all of that was born out of like the Legion of Boom era when everybody was trying to copy that. And there was the same level of failures of coaches not being able to run it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's always going to be those, like, when there's a new system.
Oh, wait, because you have to think, when the Legion of Boom was around, that was when the long bomb offenses were dominant. And so they had to figure out a way to combat against these super deep balls that were happening. Because everybody was stuck in the running back era. Well, now we're kind of starting to see that again because everybody's running a cover 2 and everybody's in zone. And so now we have all this space in the middle of the field that's not being covered. So, and people are paying attention to the tight end check down. So we might as well go back to running the ball because the line is weak and the sweep is weak. And as much as I hate draws, they work occasionally because there's a lot of space for them to get in a draw. So, the league goes back and forth with its we'll say metas, right? Of what is best for an offense to do, and I just think we're finally coming back to that running back heavy offense, which I love. It's my favorite.
It'll take a couple more years
because what running backs do for the game is it controls the clock, right? You can control exactly how much time you have on the field with a running back, but if you're just dumping the ball off, you could spend a minute of total time of the quarter and it means nothing. But if you're running the ball down the field in one drive, you could waste an entire quarter.
I mean, like
because the clock just keeps running. The clock just keeps running.
Right. Case in point, look at that Kansas City Buffalo playoff game from like 2 years ago. Or whatever, where they just like kept on having fucking 45-second touchdown drives.
Yeah,
and trading them back and forth until one of them stopped.
that game was
the
insane.
Defense was gassed.
That game was incredible though.
Completely gassed. I mean,
from a viewer's standpoint, that was probably one of the best games ever.
But yeah, I mean,
it was so exciting, man.
Trevor's just going to be mad because he likes defense so much that like those kind of things are always going to piss him off.
I prefer a sub 20-point game, like those games that are like 16-17 and 14-13. Or
you have a balanced, you like a balanced game where there's a give and take. See, that's the thing, though.
I don't care about touchdowns.
That's the thing, though. Is that
I think when you score 57 points, like touchdowns, it's like okay, fine, you got another one.
It's like what are we watching college football right now? Like what's happening?
Right. Now that we're playing in a league where defense matters as much as it does, those 17-13 games are going to be a lot more exciting for people from a fantasy standpoint. You're going to be a lot more. You're sitting there going like, throw the ball. You're going to be like, all right, now my defensive guys out there.
Get a pick, please.
Like when the Dallas game was going on and like the whole Turd Ferguson, Jake Ferguson thing happened, it was like, yes, drop all those fucking passes from Dak so he gets like Tony Pollard off the field and Trayvon Diggs back on it. Yes, do the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, man.
It teaches you that defense is important. It's not just all about the offensive showman touchdowns and I'm just a defensive player, so my opinion is probably invalid for most other people's opinions.
Well, let's check out a really bad defensive play here.
A really bad defensive play?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Zay Jones.
Fires into the end
Oh
zone.
my God. How do you let him catch that, man?
I can't believe this.
Wow.
Dude,
He got burned. He got burned.
Lawrence steps up.
Right there.
Fires into the end zone. Dive in the tackle made by Zay
You got beat.
yeah.
Now it's a touchdown.
I want to see if the hot take of Christian Kirk is like not a useful fantasy player is actually true, because I just don't believe that. Like, he had too productive of a season just to go away from him.
Well, I think Christian Kirk will be a 1A in that offense. Trevor Lawrence is legit. And
Yeah.
they paid him a lot of money.
Sunshine.
Wait, did he already get an extension?
Yeah, he got a lot of money to sign there.
Oh,
they
okay.
really like
They
him
front loaded his contract
in Jacksonville.
They gave him like 3 years fully paid, I think.
And
I mean,
he
he got the
showed,
standard contract then. That's like pretty normal.
I mean, the biggest thing to take
But
away
for someone
from that
for
is,
him
though,
that's an underperforming, that's a pretty good contract.
Yeah.
He went to that team. That's not the team that drafted him. That's not like they're re-upping his rookie deal. They're not.
Wait, who?
Christian Kirk.
Oh yeah.
He came. They wanted that guy. That's their guy, and they
said,
paid
"Arizona's
him.
fucking
That
up.
we believe in you,
Come to
and
me."
we think that you were not getting the looks that you needed based on your skill set with your previous team. Like Cliff was not doing something right there, and they liked him. They went and got him, and last year he showed out. He was a good player. I think that he kind of got swept under the rug with a lot of the other insane performances from other wide receivers last year, like Justin Jefferson. So I think he will be something this year, maybe for the next couple years. Will he be an absolute, wrecker at that position? I don't think so. But
I don't think he's going to be the next Cooper Kupp. I mean,
no, I mean,
He might be an Adam Thielen though.
he'll be that guy that's Mr. Consistent. He'll be, the player that you can depend on if you need to flex him or use him as your wide receiver too.
yeah, Adam Thielen. I mean, except for Adam Thielen always got the touchdowns.
Adam Thielen was wide receiver 1. He had a insane year where he went, I think, was it 10 or 11 games in a row over 100 yards receiving? I don't think that's Christian Kirk's ceiling, but Adam Thielen was
Adam
in his
Thielen
prime,
was a beast.
was a monster. He was what Justin Jefferson was before he was there. Well, Justin Jefferson came in, and then Adam Thielen was on the way out. He's like, all right, later. We found another one of these guys. So, yeah.
Adam Thielen dropped a 30 bomb. I remember at a couple of 30 bombs in 2020 when I first started playing.
Yeah, look at his stats when he was younger, and you'll see how good he was. I think he was one of those players that a lot of people were drafting first overall.
Pre-COVID, he was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
After
he was one of the most consistent touchdown guys in the league for a good 5 years.
I mean,
over 10 a year.
even last year, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over 15. Now, did he have a couple of 1-2 point games? Yeah, but
he's also over 30.
Yeah, he's old.
That's because he has good hands.
And also last year he had a broken back.
The number of that's true.
Spinal.
The number of highlight reel catches where it's just like he wins a contested catch. That was his bread and butter. Is that he was a fast dude that had a good quarterback that could get it where it needed to be, and he would make the catch more often than not. So, yeah, Kirk, there's another feather in your cap for Kirk Cousins there, Trevor.
Veterans. You got to pick the veterans.
I mean, that is the best strategy.
This one's a Michael Pittman Jr. play. I like this guy a lot, man.
I took him last year in a redraft league. He just...
I mean, look at him. He has 5 DBs half his size trying to catch him, and they can't catch him. It's sad. Like
He's big.
Look at the vision. He splits them, and then he just breaks away from all of them.
I also want to point
He
out.
runs like a gazelle.
I also want to point out.
No, he's a legit wide receiver one.
Right here. Those are not small defensive players. Look how big he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's huge.
I mean, yeah, his leg span is basically a good, just about 6 feet. Like,
I mean, Michael Pittman is is the reason I took him in last year in a redraft was he's the prototypical guy and like wide receiver one type, like 6 something, 200 plus pounds, like yeah, no, and he's really skilled, like really good player.
The thing about Michael Pittman though is that the Colts are in a absolute tailspin as a franchise.
yeah, they're in a terrible place.
And they need to sign Jonathan Taylor and just suck it up, because this whole contract bullshit, it's stupid. It's bad for the fans. It's bad for the team.
It's
so ridiculous to me.
I don't know who Jim Irsay listens to, but whoever told him that they shouldn't pay Jonathan Taylor, I don't know if he should be listening to that.
That's the problem, is that Jim Irsay isn't listening to anybody.
He needs to not listen to himself. He needs to full Costanza himself.
I think that's kind of
George Costanza.
I think that's kind of what he was doing. But then he decided, you know what? I'm cleaning house. This is my team now. It always was, but this is my team. And now it feels like it's hard to gauge really what this team is at this point. Because after Andrew Luck retired, this team has gone through.
It's been tough.
I think like 8 quarterbacks. I can't even count. I don't even remember. I don't even remember all the different quarterbacks they've had. I know the husk of Phillip Rivers was on this team. It seems like only a year ago. And Matt Ryan. And like, is Russell Wilson gonna be on the Colts soon? Like, how many more quarterbacks are they gonna go through before they get their guy? I mean, it seems like Anthony Richardson's the guy for now.
Yeah,
but who knows? Who knows what Jim Irsay is going to do?
He needs to learn how to throw a slant.
Give the rookie some time. I think he'll develop into that team pretty well.
I think Anthony Richardson will be good. He had a historic combine. He's a freak of nature athletically. It's kind of surprising he went after C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. But
I mean, it's because he's clearly like undeveloped, like as a actual being like Justin Fields type thrower. Like there's just some things he's obviously really bad at.
Yeah, give him a QB coach for a couple of years. He'll be fine.
The one thing I take solace in the Colts sucking though is that it's always quality content on the Pat McAfee show when it's not about Aaron Rodgers. It's just full tilt Colts.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Good for Pat McAfee. Way to get the bag.
Oh, he got the biggest bag. Speaking of bags.
And then,
not me.
Yeah, this QB money.
Take to him, Ritter. Has time.
This is my boy Kyle Pitts.
Wait, did Kyle Pitts pass?
Yeah,
doing what he should be doing.
Threw this in there for you because I know you love yourself some Kyle Pitts.
I love myself some Kyle Pitts. I hate what that team is doing, but you can see the talent's there.
Yeah,
I mean, get him a good quarterback. He is going to be the new Allen Robinson. Just get him a good quarterback.
He got 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end in his rookie year.
Matt Ryan.
He's good.
Yeah,
his quarterback bad. Offensive line amazing. Quarterback bad.
Coach don't want to pass.
Coach no want pass. Coach lose game. Still run ball.
Coach been in the league too long.
What also doesn't help that Arthur Smith is an actual billionaire. Unlike the rest of the coaches in the NFL, he's a billionaire.
The thing that pisses me off about Arthur Smith is that he acts like his team is a winning team, where they were the kings of the worst division in football last year.
Wait, did they win the division last year?
Someone did.
Someone had to.
It was them. Yeah, New Orleans or Carolina.
No, was it? No, it was Tampa Bay because they were actually in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
But back to the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's been in the league so long.
Mike Tomlin's been in the league since like the 40s.
Rip to my boy Deontay Johnson here. Well, not in this play, but in this game.
He's just jaded at this point.
Like, he is.
It blows my mind that Packers fans not Packers fans, but Steelers fans every year are like, should we move on from Mike Tomlin? There's like 10% of them that say that. It's like, you guys are the biggest idiots.
Well,
no, I agree. They should.
Steelers fans be sounding like Seahawks fans because there's this contingent of Seahawks fans that have been done with Pete Carroll for about 6 years now.
They're so dumb.
Yeah, dude. Like, don't get rid of coaches who are just like good at what they do. Like, it's so hard to find a good coach. Like, look at how many of them fail. Like, everybody was talking about how Cliff Kingsbury was like going to be the next great one, and he like absolutely ran. Like, we're now questioning whether or not like Kyler Murray's any good, whether D-Hop is any good. Like, yeah, just because Cliff Kingsbury made D-Hop run 4 routes. He ran 4 routes with that offense.
Well, there's two sides.
Carroll is the most active 70-year-old I have ever seen.
But there's 2 sides to this argument. The first side is what you're saying, where it's hard to find a good head coach. And this part is true. But then the other side of the argument is these coaches that are good aren't great and get us to Super Bowls. Because Pete Carroll, he's gotten us 1 Super Bowl. We won't talk about the second one.
Pete Carroll has 6 bowls with the USC.
But what have
2
the Steelers
national
done?
championships.
I mean, they've got 2.
1 asterisk fucking Super
lately.
Bowl.
This is the what have you done for me lately league.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Steelers have not done anything of note for years. Just like the Seahawks. This is the reason why there's a split between, fire these legendary Hall of Fame coaches and bring in someone new who will shake things up and
both teams are really
bring in
trying
a
to get
new
the
culture.
Quarterback situation under control. I mean, ultimately, there's like a lot of talent in the rest of the roster, both offense and defense on both teams, but
both teams have more problems than quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
but the
Seahawks defensive coordinator is highly suspect still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that Clint Hurt is not in any way some sort of like...
Joe, you could say the same thing about the Steelers offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but it's the same deal. It's like no one's ever going to argue that they're any good. Like, yeah.
So is that endemic of the head coach not bringing in the right people, and maybe they're bringing in a new head coach would get some fresh minds to fix the problems that the team's having? It could go either way. They could go to the Super Bowl. They could bring in a new head coach who brings in a bunch of young guys that can run the offense and the defense and bring these teams, these storied franchises, back to the Super Bowl, or they could end up like the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, you could go either way too, because like I don't think Shane Waldron is like a bad offensive coordinator. Like I think he's pretty good.
He was doing some pretty questionable shit on Sunday, but I'll give him another season.
I mean, one game is one game.
Let him calm down. It's game 1. He's going to try some...
I'm not going to overreact to week 1.
So it feels like sometimes he's just playing Madden because, like, picking the bomb on, 3rd and 2 when you're in the green zone doesn't really seem like
that was terrible. Terrible.
Well, I will say for this on the Madden comment, he is definitely a Madden player. Like all of these young guys are Madden players. Every single one of them. Mike McDaniels, he played Madden. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Did you see what Tyreek said?
Oh, that he scouts people through Madden, doesn't watch film?
Yeah, he says, I don't watch film. I just check their Madden rating.
That's just because he's... Well, sometimes you could be that good.
You're that good. So here's my rule of thumb, guys. If Tyreek Hill is doing backflips in the end zone and he's against you, you're done. That's it. It seems whenever he's doing that shit, he's going for 50 plus.
All right, let's back to defense. I want to see this next clip here. I want to talk about it because it is the
this was your favorite.
The coolest play by a defense I've seen, and it didn't even result in 6 points, but it's textbook.
I mean, It did, didn't it? Didn't they get a touchdown after
No,
this?
he ran out of bounds afterward at the end of the run.
No. On the offense
they
here
immediately
after they've
scored.
took.
I mean,
anyway,
I'm saying
let's watch it.
immediately. I'm saying immediately. No. It's at 7:10.
Clean pocket
Right?
here.
Oh yeah, right here. Tips it,
Nice tip drill.
grabs the ball, but hang on. Does a flip, blocks,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
no,
the big
just-
boy
just
pushes him
barely.
out.
That's
With almost
But that is the best defensive play I've seen in like 2 years.
So here's the thing.
Manga.
There was a similar play
dude is
like this
awesome.
that happened in that Patriots game last year where they ended up losing it on the awkward lateral.
You know for
Oh
a
yeah,
fact,
that's right. And then Chandler Jones ran it in at like the 10.
Yep.
those two
Yeah.
DBs practice that every week.
But the difference is that this is San Fran, the best defense in the game. But you're right. These guys definitely practice this.
Yeah.
With almost everybody.
Yeah, I don't know which crazy person thought that the Seahawks have a chance in the West. Like any of them, like any NFC team not named the 49ers are gonna like win the division. Like that defense is just too good.
We'll see. Hang on, man. This is the beginning of the year. The San Francisco 49ers and the Rams always start strong, and by the 3/4 of the way into the year, they're so broken that they can't play the playoffs.
Well, I mean
So-
that's because San Francisco loses their quarterback every year.
And their best tight end, and they lose their best defensive lineman, and they lose.
You could
their
just say
DBs.
George Kittle, man.
Yeah, okay. They lose Kittle, they lose Bosa, and then it's over. Because now they have weaknesses that people can exploit.
They don't have it like a
Now
six,
they don't,
like,
when they
tackle.
lose Kittle, now they don't have the over the fucking middle dunker to throw it to. So, well, guess where they're going to be going? They're going to be going deep, or they're going to be running the ball. When they lose Bosa, run it up that side. It's not that difficult. Once you can exploit something like that, it's over for a team like them because they pay those players so much to cover that side of the ball that it's hard to replace them once they're gone.
I mean, it's
there's no-
impossible. No,
There's no backup that can fill those shoes.
Committing, right? And so then you create other weaknesses around the line. So it's like,
I mean, that's the thing about the Jonathan Taylor situation. I don't get. It's like you have a cheap quarterback. Like Anthony Richardson's on a rookie deal. Like just line Jonathan Taylor up with that, and just
Nope.
that's why you.
I say play the rookie. Let Jonathan Taylor back him up because Jonathan Taylor had a shot. He already had a shot in the
Taylor's
league.
the running back.
Or I thought you were talking about the. Then
No,
why
this is the Colts thing.
Oh.
Like they're not paying Jonathan Taylor, but they have
Right.
the rookie.
Yeah,
they have the
all
rookie
the
contract
cap
to
in the world.
QB. They don't need to pay. Just line up the contracts so that if Anthony Richardson pops off and does become the next quarterback for them, like the contract ends when they need to pay
when they need to
Richardson.
pay him.
Right. But when you're a brand new quarterback, do you want to be handing the ball off? Or do you want to be getting reps throwing the ball?
I mean, I think that you don't want Anthony Richardson getting hurt. I think that's kind of
He's
the thing.
already
It's like you
hurt.
let him rest on certain plays.
Didn't he
Like, you
already
don't.
take a hamstring injury this week?
He's banged
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, he's already hurt.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's a freak. His measurables are that of a defensive end playing quarterback. It's
I mean, as long
ridiculous.
as you're not a receiver or a running back, hamstring problems aren't really that big of a deal.
I mean, the problem is that he's kind of is a running back.
Yeah, get Aaron Rodgers back out there. He doesn't need an Achilles.
That's
Yeah.
a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Achilles is you're done.
Yeah.
That's a career.
So
That's
wait,
career.
He might actually be done. Like done.
He's
Yeah,
done.
at 39, he might be
Hometown
actually done.
hero. No, he's fucking done. Come
He's
on.
done. He's done.
There's
You're not-
no-
You
don't
he's
come back from that injury and play football.
the only person I've ever
You can
seen
come
come
back
back
from
from
Achilles
that.
and play
The only
football,
person
dude.
that I've seen come back from that is Richard Sherman, and he was half as fast as he ever was. So
He still put up an all-pro season, like, after that. It's not like he was bad.
Yeah, I guess.
Speaking of someone who's not done, Austin Eckler.
Oh, this man. He's suspect this week. But
he's always suspect though with that ankle.
Yeah, he's week to week right now.
I swear every year that ankle flares up.
That dude is just something else, man. Also,
Dude, I hope they pay him, man. Like, you just want to do it who was undrafted.
That was the moment. It's the moment the game was over, right there. The Giants lost right there.
Dude,
that was pretty much it.
That was the best decision I made this week in fantasy, was not to play Dexter Lawrence. Oh my god.
Oh my god. That's so defeating. When you're a Giant, that's just, oh no.
Dude, losing to the Cowboys is defeating, man. Like, yo, it's the Cowboys.
At home.
Facts. So you can skip to the Devonta Smith.
We'll do the Devonta Smith play here.
I still think this is the most gentleman-like celebration you can do in the game. It's been going for a couple
baby
years. Yeah, but it's just so funny, man. It's like, oh, look, it's my baby. Oh, yes, I put you to sleep now.
Cradles it like a baby.
And then look at him sitting on the bench.
It's just like, what the fuck?
At least Zeke got paid. Like,
So
already got some money.
I'm surprised he didn't get a foul there for unsportsmanlike conduct.
No, that's
No
gentleman.
fun league.
No, that's gentleman-like. It's not overdone. It's just him rocking the baby. Right here is the next one. I like seeing
also
running backs like
He's
this.
doing a little dance with the ball.
Travis Etienne.
Look at this, right here. So back it up. So when he goes into the middle there, and he almost doesn't see it, but at the very last second he's like, there's no hole. And then he sees that giant hole out there on the left-hand side and takes advantage of it. Like, everybody is stacked up there on the right, and he knows it. And so he takes...
It's collapsed.
Why can't more running backs do this? I don't understand it. It's so rare in the league to see that.
I mean, that's why Lev Bell was so good.
Travis
He could do that.
Travis Etienne is also a rare running back. He's undersized, but he's got elite vision.
Yeah, those are the perfect guys to have, at the halfback.
The only thing that really makes me nervous about Etienne is his durability. If he gets injured, it doesn't matter how good your vision is. Like, if he's running,
he was already
running
injured, though.
Yeah, I mean,
He lost a season to a foot.
he did, but if something's nagging at him, like if he's one of those guys that starts getting his hamstrings tore up, I worry for him as a running back.
the high ankle sprains.
Yeah, the high ankle sprain. Those things pile up, and it makes.
I mean,
really
that and
hard.
any sort of ligament damage for guys that need to bounce out to this side where they're changing direction laterally.
When you look at him in comparison to the people that are landing on top of him when they're tackling him, it scares me because he's so small compared to him.
Deuce Vaughn.
But I mean, look at Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's tiny. And
he falls on the ground.
He also plays a different position in his.
Dude, receivers arguably take way bigger hits.
They take bigger hits because they're running
way
faster.
Bigger hits.
Like, DBs are running faster,
and they get hit from weird angles because they're not paying attention to certain angles, and they just get smashed.
Running back. I mean, they
just get hit more.
They end up in a
lots more
giant.
weight.
They end up in a giant pile of 365-pound men.
He's a fainting goat. Like, he catches the ball and falls over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he 3 years ago stopped getting any yards after the catch.
Yeah, that game where he broke his leg. I think after that he was like, I need to.
Yeah.
He probably went and was a ballerina for a while.
I need to learn how to fall better.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a whole storyline of that for Tua for that. So yeah.
So this was probably the biggest hit I saw in all the highlights of the week.
Let's see, it was this one here.
Is it this one?
That was a good crunch.
Yeah, right there. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Justin
knocked his own helmet off, dude. His own helmet.
That's a hit.
He wanted to be. He grew up wanting to play defense.
Look, like, here's the deal. I think that we should
That
be
was his
scoring-
moment.
We should be figuring out how to score key blocks like that. Because like it's fun when offensive play. I mean, I guess that was
Well,
a tackle for Justin
tackle,
Jefferson.
yeah.
But there are ways to do it.
I'm surprised he didn't get a tackle score. I guess it only gives him to defensive players, but
He should have gotten scored with the tackle for that.
yeah, I agree.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
if they
made
make it, if you
kind
make
of
it,
an
that's a good
open field
tackle.
Like as a tackle,
Unless there's a penalty on it, it definitely should be a tackle. I mean,
I don't think there was a penalty.
one of my favorite plays every year was like D Hop would get picked, run the guy down, and then suplex him and get a penalty.
That's a good play.
Intercepted by Tampa Bay.
Boom! Oh my God, such a good
See,
hit.
that's a tackle.
I mean, it's not a textbook tackle, but it's a tackle.
It's a hit.
It's a hit. That's a big hit right
That
there.
counts
to
as a
take.
tackle. You touched him down. You touched
I
him
like-
down in a weird angle, but you touched him down.
Yeah, I like that it was Justin Jefferson who did that.
Yeah,
Like, it's a good reminder that
he's a
that
freak.
big.
He's a freak. He can catch the ball and he can tackle.
There's
Not
a
afraid.
That's my wide receiver one.
He's not afraid.
Give him
Right,
the
this
tackle
is-
points.
And then
This is the last one that we got here.
this is our boy that got shot. That came back to the league. Little easy little tutty right there.
dude. He came back to the league in 4 weeks after getting shot. Man. Like,
Shot twice.
Yeah,
he's
shot
the man.
twice.
He's the man.
Dude, that's like, dude, Michael Thomas like got a high ankle sprain and didn't show up for 2 years. Like, yo,
Yeah, no, that's
Ankle
crazy.
sprains are no joke, man. But
but like 2 years, like, that's a long time, man.
yeah,
All right. So
Steve really wanted to talk about this play
no.
here.
So basically, the thing is the Chicago Bears have nothing to. They can't do shit against zone defense because Justin Fields is not a good quarterback, and we're gonna watch this unfold because both linebackers are gonna read it perfectly, and if Quay Walker doesn't make this interception, DeAndre Campbell does, right?
yeah,
Then
he's
we
too
get-
short.
We get
He
great
has-
blocking here from Quay Walker, who just pancakes a dude and opens this thing up. And it's
See, the trick to like getting young, good defensive players is just to take whoever's coming out of Georgia.
He's staring
See,
at Justin
like,
Fields. They're trying
not
to
that
get
hard.
little
The
dings.
Eagles figured it out.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, it seems to
He
be
is
working
just
for Green Bay
dead
too.
down the
'Cause,
middle of the
I
field
think
the
Devontae
entire
Wyatt is
time
right
with his
there,
eyes.
creating pressure
brings
up
Quay
front
Walker and
forcing
then-
the throw.
You mean the Philadelphia
Catch by
Bulldogs?
Quay Walker.
Dude, the Philly Dogs.
The
Philly Dogs
to see his
are a good
quarterback play
defense,
well
for sure.
and his defense play well, and I think
Dude, they've got to have merch for that, right? Like, there's got to be merch for the Philly
It
Dogs.
better be. We don't need to watch any more of this.
I think Roshan Johnson has the opportunity here to take over the backfield for the Bears.
Absolutely.
In short order.
Nobody, and Deonta Foreman is a splash in the pan kind of running
in the
back.
NFL, then
So the thing about Deonta Foreman is that he has a really cool story. He came out and got injured like pretty much immediately, and this was in the era of Achilles injuries being career enders for sure. And he was one of the first guys that came back and actually was productive and managed to get back on a team and get some opportunities. And I think he was with Carolina. They gave him a shot, and he's still in the league. So cool
He did-
dude. I mean, he's absolutely irrelevant for fantasy, but
He did pretty
It's a great
well.
story.
great story.
He did
really
pretty
cool.
well in relief of McCaffrey after he was traded for Carolina last year.
We have our new running back segment for this new show, which we're making up new segments for every week. We'll have more content for the Running Back Vision.
I'm going to write down the timestamp for every single play that I see from good running backs because stuff like this hasn't happened in the league in years, and it's
I'm
finally
so
starting
excited,
to happen
man.
again. It's so nice to see.
The last,
'Cause I hate it when a running back is like, okay, it's 3-4 hammer. I'm just running it up the middle, and if the hole's not there, I'm just gonna keep running it up the middle and fall over and not try for the first down. It irritates the crap out of me.
yeah, Trey
Because-
Sermon.
I had to watch that my whole life with Sean Alexander after we paid him, and it just pisses me off.
Speaking of running backs who are not Sean Alexander, we've got Kenneth Walker. It just looks amazing this season, man.
Walker the carry, room to the edge, got a block,
Great.
and Walker out of bounds at the
It's like an
Rams'
outside
42.
center run.
Hang on.
Good contain on that.
Smith
Where's the
out to Walker in the flat. Walker
lays him out? Absolutely lays a guy out that's like twice his size
block, and Walker out of bounds at the Rams'
and keeps running.
Nice.
More than lays him out, he pancakes this dude.
Smith.
See, it's plays like
Right
this
here.
where it's like I don't understand the whole narrative around Zach Charbonnet. Like everybody's like freaking out about how he's gonna make Ken Walker irrelevant for fantasy. It's like, yo, you guys just didn't watch games like Seahawks games. I know it.
Dude, that's like a big fucking linebacker. Like that's
Yeah,
like his
it's massive.
starting middle linebacker.
Knocks him on his
Like,
ass.
and he just is like, and like tumbles over. Like that's a hell of an impact.
Dude, he's fast and he may not be the tallest guy, but he looks like he like lifts.
So if you go back to 255, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Sounds like fucking early Bruce Irvin.
So, or 52. So play it.
Walk it in
So
motion.
he's supposed to go up the middle there. You see how the linemen are trying to push him apart, but they're all the defense is collapsing to the right of our or the bottom of our screen.
Walk it in motion.
The hole's trying to open up in the middle there, but he doesn't see it opening. So he bounces out to the outside and actually makes something out of the play. You can see it happening, and most running backs would just run up in between the guard and the center there and just fall over. That's what I'm talking about. He's hard to see if you're not looking for it. But I can see where the offensive linemen are trying to push the lineman, and it's not happening.
That's
And
kind of a double-edged sword with players like Walker, though, and we saw it last year. He had happy feet, where he'd be dancing behind the line.
Dancing in the back, yeah.
He's moving really
now he's
fast, but going nowhere. But
now he's going north.
Yeah, but now you're starting to see that progression where he's starting to be more of a north-south runner instead of being indecisive. Because it's like, dude, you're not in college anymore. You're not just destroying a bunch of future lawyers and pharmacists every week. You're playing against men in the NFL. So
real football players.
He's progressing well. I have concerns about his durability.
Man, everybody has
that's
every single running back.
Specifically though, with him, it's the he had that sports hernia thing, and then his groin injury that is just re-nagging him every single year.
That is why running backs only run 3 to 4 years. That's their lifespan.
That's true.
Yeah.
You don't get Frank
The rare ones make it.
I mean, Derrick Henry is an absolute anomaly.
Oh yes, absolute outlier.
Dude,
absolute
look at Frank
outlier.
Gore.
But
is he still in the league?
No, he retired.
He retired.
He finally retired. He's on the coaching staff. Yeah. Now.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that man lasted 10 years at the position. That doesn't happen.
I wanted to bring up Kenneth Walker's durability because that's the reason why we drafted Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh and kept DJ Dallas on the roster, is because the Seahawks want to run the ball just as much as the Falcons want to run the ball. I
mean, it's also because we lost Penny and Homer.
We got rid of Penny.
We got rid of
whatever.
both. We didn't chose not to re-sign both players, and I think that we seriously upgraded.
I mean, we definitely upgraded for sure. I mean,
Charbonnet's floor is Penny's ceiling. My opinion.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Penny's ceiling, after the second major injury, was already nothing.
Yeah. So Penny did nothing for us.
He was a bust, 100% a bust.
He ran really hard at the end of the season when it was like, are we showing this guy off as a trade piece? And then we ended up keeping him. So he was always a really weird situation for me in terms of
he tore his. I mean, he broke it. He tore his ACL, broke his leg, tore his ACL. Those are the 3 injuries.
He hasn't had a good run as a pro, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Great kid, I'm sure. But as far as a draft pick goes,
at least he got paid on the first round rookie contract.
I wouldn't necessarily call him I wouldn't necessarily call him a bust because he was a massive reach on draft day. Let's be honest.
I don't know, like
I don't remember that draft. It's too long.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really remember, but it's like he was not Saquon. He wasn't.
I remember
Bijan.
that draft.
First,
It was a who?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an LJ Collier moment. All right.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
Yeah. We passed over Nick Chubb.
Yikes. All right, go to 426. I don't want to think about that.
We got a lot of those in the Seahawks draft.
We could have had
last,
Nick. We could have had Nick Chubb.
What was the timestamp?
420.
420, of course. Let's get that. One sec.
A little after it.
He's this many guys under
right
25 years old.
Does the same thing. Got to hold it, just collapse in the middle, bounces outside, gets upfield, gets us the first, and a little extra. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. I don't want to see him run up into our center and then give up and fall over.
Especially on like third and short yardage, or second and short yardage here. It's like, definitely
second-year players. One of them carries the football, gets some room to the edge. A stiff arm throw.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do against Aaron Donald?
These guys are wise beyond their years as second-year players.
Yeah, go the other way.
Outside on the weak side.
It's like, hey, look, there's the best player in the league right there. Let's run away from that guy.
But 90% of the running backs in the league are just gonna run up the middle and fall over because I'm trying to get my paycheck. I don't really care. You know, I like seeing players that want to put in the extra effort, and that's extra effort right there.
Yeah, I will say this though about like Ken Walker. We drafted him to replace like the general skill set of Kenny, not Kenny, but
Carson.
of Penny,
and then Chris Carson.
You mean Chris Carson, right?
Yeah, because Carson broke his neck.
No, he was the lead back, but that role is Charbonnet's role. Is the Carson like bruiser, like that style of running is Charbonnet.
I don't know. I think Mini Marshawn DJ Dallas does it better, but that's just me.
I mean, he should. He's like got more time in the league. Like it would be bad if he didn't. That would be bad. Like definitively bad.
I'm not sold on Charbonnet currently.
Me neither.
You shouldn't be.
I want to see him actually play and not.
But that's the idea of drafting. That's like the idea behind the draft. Who knows if it's going to work out?
I want to see him play in a game where he gets more than what did he get? Like 3 snaps, and one of them was the literal end of the game, extending the Seahawks' total offensive output in the second half from 3 yards to 11?
14.
14? Yeah. That was it was just like oh my god, dude. All right. We're not going to talk about that game.
The second half of that game was so
unserious football team.
Yeah, so did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about?
That was it for the highlights for me. I'll find more running back highlights this week, but that is about what I could find in the time that I had.
So there was 2 plays that I thought were really unique, and they're both self
the DK clip.
Other than the DK clip,
we should end on the DK clip.
We'll end on the DK clip, but I wanted to watch.
Wait, the good or the bad one, or the one that's divisive?
Oh, the bad one.
The bad one.
There's 2 clips that I wanted to watch that I thought were hilarious. The first one here. So this is CJ Stroud.
This first or third pass or something.
Yeah, like barely.
It's like really early in the game. Like,
oh my god!
It's a pass to himself.
For negative 1 yard.
I didn't realize
for negative 1 yards.
I didn't realize that was actually like a thing. I thought like Roquan was gonna get a pass defense for that. I was really annoyed because that's like good points.
So that's not a pass defense. That is a self pass.
That's a completion.
Hands happened to be there.
Deflecting. It happened to be intercepted. Not intercepting. Deflected the pass to a completion.
It counts as a completion, therefore not a pass defense.
Yep.
So we had another young player, not exactly a rookie, but a young player, who completed a pass to himself and managed to get more offensive output as a passer or as a receiver than Drake London.
Woof.
Desmond Ridder.
Woof.
L.
So those are the 2 self passes from the noobs. which was sick.
There's
So
one
sad.
more.
But it reminded me.
Yeah, the Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, it reminded
This is like
me
the
of-
GOAT self pass.
This is the
Yeah.
GOAT self pass. So you just saw some young pups just try and do their best Marcus Mariota impression. But this was in a wild card game.
Oh, so this wasn't fantasy relevant either. That's too bad.
No, but it was absolutely relevant.
This was absolutely relevant.
I mean, this is like real relevant, not like.
So good.
Oh my god!
I honestly forgot Mariota was on the was like drafted by the Titans. I don't know if he was drafted by them, but like I forgot.
Yeah, he was drafted. He was drafted by the Titans.
Yeah,
that was the first team he was on.
That's
he threw a touchdown pass to himself in a playoff game. That's my favorite That's my favorite Marcus Mariota fact.
That's his clip for the year.
That's one of those things that you're at a bar and it's trivia night.
Who threw themselves their own pass in 2020 or 2018?
Which quarterback is responsible for throwing his own touchdown pass in a playoff game? The answer is Marcus Mariota.
Definitely bar trivia worthy. That's amazing.
So good.
So yeah, I'm hoping since we've already got 2 of those this season that we get about 5 more of them by the end of the season.
I hope we don't see 5 more.
We gotta track those.
I mean, I would like to see one of them be a touchdown. That would be cool.
Now, if it was a touchdown,
somebody's got to make Mariota proud.
Man, Mariota might turn into the next Jets quarterback. Like, he could be back in the league. It could just be Marcus Mariota.
He was really bad. Anyway, so we got Garrett Wilson here.
This is awesome.
From the Monday night game.
Garrett Wilson, wow! What a catch! Touchdown!
Doing his best Deion Sanders impression.
I think that was better.
What clip are we watching here?
Well, we watched the Garrett Wilson clip.
I mean, the clip from that game is the return to ice it. Not that that's fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
but.
no. I mean, the Garrett Wilson.
For us, it was. Could have been.
Oh.
The
that
Garrett
counts.
Wilson, the
it does?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, it does.
Yes.
Just no one's going to have that one random undrafted kid.
And get all of those return yards and that return touchdown. He's a fantasy irrelevant cornerback otherwise.
Are we going to talk about how Puka Nacua is like an actual relevant fantasy player now, or?
And so is Tutu Atwell. I mean,
are they though? Well,
I don't know.
I can see the argument for Puka Nacua. Tutu Atwell, we've seen a lot of him.
And I wouldn't go out of my way to get Atwell, but you have you're only bringing it up because you have
in Dynasty. Yes,
I have him on my taxi.
I mean,
squad.
he's
for redraft and for the long term in Dynasty. Puka Nacua is a interesting
good
player.
Have. Yeah. It's good to have.
Yeah,
he was another one of those So he's I mean, I don't remember what he was. I think it was a 4th round rookie this year. Like day 2, day 3, pretty late. And
the only reason he's relevant is because
Cooper Kupp's out.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys that was obviously really talented, but slipped in the draft because of injuries. There's always those guys every year,
But he was the first guy since 1930, or not the first, but one of 6 receivers since 1930, some ridiculously long time ago, who scored as many points as he did in his first ever NFL game in Week 1.
Yep.
So
he also has a larger route tree than Cooper Kupp, so it's not like he's replacing him for his role. He could stay relatively relevant after.
I would also like to see him play against a defense that isn't completely shell-shocked.
Yeah, where there's only one good player, 2 good players that are playing on a defense.
Right. It's going to be something that, people in redraft are going to be rushing to the waiver wire to pick him up and
not realizing he's going to be going against the 49ers next week. And
he's got a rough schedule coming up, but Cooper Kupp will probably come back eventually this season, and
I mean,
he might be the guy that they end up dropping, but at the same time, like,
minimum week 5.
There isn't a lot of clarity there in that situation. If Cooper Kupp was out for the season, wide receiver 1, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations, anyone who has him on their fantasy team.
Totally.
But we don't know when Cooper Kupp's going to come back, because when he does, that's Matt Stafford's favorite target. So
even then, it might be a 1A 1B kind of scenario.
That being
we also
said,
don't know. We also don't know about like Van Jefferson, who was just kind of shadowed by Woolen the entire game.
You also don't get 10 targets by accident.
Yeah.
So
he
dude
gets
was open every play.
Yeah.
You know.
And the Seahawks provided absolutely no pass rush. And so, he was open, and Matt Stafford is, good at throwing ball.
Yeah, I mean, he had time to get open. The time to get open is key there, especially for Stafford. He likes to watch play develop.
I mean, our defense was unserious, to put it nicely.
So I think that's a good segue into something I wanted to talk about, which was Overreaction Monday. And this is the best Overreaction Monday of the entire season, because it's the first game after 9 months of anticipation.
All the hype.
So,
all the hype.
What are your guys' overreactions to this week of games?
Calvin Ridley's going to be wide receiver 1.
That's a good one.
I still think Puka Nacua, because everybody who watched that game on Sunday is going to be bidding for Puka Nacua. That's going to be the biggest overreaction, and he's not going to get the same kind of ball share in 4 weeks. He's just not.
I mean,
as good of a
I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's an overreaction.
As good of a player that he is, I still think everybody else is going to overreact and start trying to bid, $30, $50, spend half their fucking money on Puka Nacua.
Okay, okay. If that's what you're going by, then yes, you're right.
I think a good overreaction is the Jets season's over, even though they won.
Yep.
Oh, what about the Giants? What about the Giants? The Giants.
Same with the Giants. It's a similar situation, but they have their quarterback.
Not so overreaction.
Or how about
off of these fields?
Odell Beckham catches one ball and now everybody thinks he's a star again.
Are the Chiefs done?
Does Mahomes suck?
How does this affect LeBron's legacy?
Couldn't do it in the Jordan era. Steve, you got no reaction?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
the Packers won. He doesn't care about anything else.
I mean, that's generally it. That might be my overreaction, is that the Packers is going to be fine.
Your overreaction is that the Bears suck, and I think you are going to be surprised when the Bears come back mid-season and shellac the Green Bay Packers, and you're going to be like, well, damn.
We play again week 18, so it's then or then the playoffs. So it's going to matter or it's going to not matter.
I mean, they might be deep in the tank by week 18.
Yeah, they might be deep in the tank in week 18. And
do they have their picks? I don't know. If they still have picks.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like the Jordan. That's my overreaction. Is that the Packers season is going to be fine with Jordan Love because he played moderately well
against a bad team.
Against a very bad team.
Okay, now let's watch our.
Well, hold on. Here's another overreaction. Is TJ Watt literally God? Because that dude had an out of body experience on the field.
Here's a hot
and
take.
transcended humanity.
Is going to be TJ Watt level by the end of next season.
Is TJ Watt going to be this week 1 TJ Watt in week 10?
No, he's going to fall off. The dude's he can't sustain this.
How old is he?
I hope you eat your words.
Does it matter when you are a literal god created from
time
pure
is
energy?
irrelevant.
And time is irrelevant?
His 6th year in the league.
He's pretty young still then. If he's only 5-6 years in the league.
Yeah, no, TJ Watt's young.
Yeah.
He's good.
You don't say. You don't say.
Did you guys see that Denver started the first game of the season with an onside kick?
What? What?
You didn't see that?
What? No, I'm not paying attention to Denver.
Hey,
I don't care about a third-round pick.
Sequence? I would love to watch that condensed sequence.
We'll find out.
They didn't score any points doing this as a strategy.
So
I'm surprised you guys didn't hear about this. This is,
dude. It's not. We're not getting a pick out of it. Like a. That's another comedy moment, man. Man.
That was fucking so bad. I remember watching that with Blarg on Sunday in the highlight reels and just laughing my ass off.
Dude, that's almost as good as that other comedy moment. Like that one's good, like probably better because like of just how botched like that scrum was for Denver.
Oh, and then they got called for illegal touching.
Illegal touching.
Oh yeah, because he moved the ball
forward
before 10 yards.
So embarrassing.
that's such a stupid play.
So, I mean, but that causes a turnover right there, right?
I mean,
Yeah, I believe so. They recovered it though.
No, but
they didn't get possession, but they recovered the ball.
The penalty.
That was the intent. No, the intent.
Yeah.
The intent. They executed it perfectly.
Yeah, right. Aside from the illegal touching.
Yeah, the intent was there, and they did it perfectly. They recovered the ball. They did nothing. Like they didn't because of the foul, the illegal touching penalty. They didn't get possession of the ball.
My boy DK.
This will be the last clip.
Coming in hot.
Look at DK Metcalf.
Just absolutely demolishes the man and turns him into a baby on the ground.
Oh man, I was so worried about Kobe Bryant when George Pickens did that to him in preseason last year.
Oh yeah,
dude. That was even worse because like they were on the line lined up, like it wasn't even like that was.
Oh DK.
You already know that was an ankle biter moment where DK's been running his mouth. That dude's been running his mouth all day, and finally DK was like, you know what? I'm done running my mouth, and then just tries to destroy the guy. But then proceeds to run his mouth against the refs right after. He said he's going to cleat the ref. If you go and listen to the mic up afterwards, he's like, well, if you catch a cleat later, then that's on you. It's like, dude, come on, man.
Dude, I'm here for it. I don't care. Like, the game's out of hand at that point. Whatever.
I was all for it. When it happened, Blarg and my dad were freaking out. They were absolutely freaking out, and they were so mad about it. I was like, the game's over. Like,
yeah, no, like, it affected nothing. It did nothing.
My problem is that he has been penalized, I think, 9 or 10 times with unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the course of his career. And when he was in the league and he was 22 years old, 23 years old, it was like he's young and he needs to figure it out. He's not figured it out. He's 26. He's been in the league for more than 3-4 years now.
You know, all those Trent
when is he
going to
learn?
Man, they get to your head eventually.
I guess so, man. Yeah. It's that bag of candy and the coffee that he eats every day, and that's it.
At least, I mean, if he gets ejected, does he take a contract penalty at all?
I don't know if that's
massive
language.
Fines from the NFL. That's what he takes.
Huge fines from the NFL for sure, but
it's embarrassing. I don't.
It's sloppy.
He just needs to get right. He needs to realize that, there's a time and place for that. I appreciate the fire that he has and that he cares. I like to see my players.
I like seeing him want to win
and be frustrated when they're not executing, but don't do it in the middle of the game. And that player, by the way, I'm spacing on his name. He ended up getting injured.
Witherspoon?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what you get for talking shit to an absolute freak. That's what you get, man.
I'm not going to root for anybody getting hurt.
Yeah.
Or he's playing fucking Hollywood right now and trying to get a bigger fine for DK.
That's what happened.
I mean, that perfectly sums up that game, though.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. I think Jaron Reed also got an unsportsmanlike immediately on the next
Hello, Witherspoon.
No, that's too bad.
I don't see. suffered rib and hip contusion. So he has a rib and a hip.
That's a bruise. Okay, no one cares.
Whoopee fucking do. Wah.
You got a bruise.
Oh, wait, you got a bruise playing football, did you? Whoa, fucking crybaby. Like, come on. You're on, especially on defense. Give me a break.
So, upcoming week 2. The matchups. This is unique, or I don't know if I should say unique, but
it's not unique.
It's happening.
You're gonna bring up Josh.
You already see.
You're already gonna bring up Josh because he always pulls his fucking players.
This is so good. This is so good.
What is this?
So as you can see here,
I'm playing Pat Mahomes and Kadarius Toney. That's it. That's all I'm playing.
He's playing Pat Mahomes and Kadarius Toney. Those are his players this week.
Why? I mean,
this is his strategy. So
he's not going to show you.
He's not showing you his cards.
Until the very
okay. Okay. Cool story, bro. Alrighty then. I guess. Like, I hope. Like, make sure you set your alarm, dude.
I mean, like, I think the idea that
dude, has he ever like just like slept through and like not set his lineup
on fantasy is hilarious.
It's psychological warfare, man.
I guess.
Kelsey is shaking in her boots right now, looking at that potential.
Looking at that 94%, being like, "Oh, that's pretty rad," and then just watching it just come closer to game day.
I'm here for it, Josh.
I mean, the best example of that not working out is the Brandywine Bandits having like the most ridiculous score possible and then losing. Like,
he missed it by like 30% or something like that.
Yeah, like he was set to like smack his opponent.
Yeah, 196 and he got 146. Big sad.
That's like Casey told me when he beat me in the fantasy championship. Just play the right players.
Just play the right players.
Yeah.
Did he have Mike Evans or something?
Oh, this was like his first year playing, and
yeah, that always happens.
I think he had like Juju Smith-Schuster as like a late like pickup on the waiver wire or something, and that was rookie Juju, good Juju, not shit.
Now you mean Juju playing next to AB, like Juju?
Yeah.
Again. Really helps when you have a wide receiver core where no one fucking no one bothers to cover you.
Yes.
So I'm thinking my favorite matchup this week is Casey and Jordan. Literally neck and neck here. Like the margin in the projections is like 1 point. And the only way this is ending is on a Monday.
That's always fun.
So if you look at Jordan's roster,
I mean, it's more for Casey's side than.
If you look at Jordan's roster, right? He's got multiple players on Monday, and Casey has, I think, 1 player on Monday. Now, obviously, they can change their lineup, but yeah, I think they have 2 and 2 right now. Another game I'm interested in watching is John's game against Matt. I always root for John because John never seems to make playoffs, and I want John to win. He's my underdog. I think he can do it.
I don't know. I smashed Matt last week, so I got to give him the "I hope you win" sort of pat on the back, buddy.
So there you have it. We got the Squirtle Squad versus the Preposterous Perpetrators. And I'm on another level, and the Red Rockets.
Who knows, man? Amon-Ra St. Brown might have another fucking game against us this week in Seattle.
Oh, after Pupu Nakua poo-pooed all over us?
Yeah, they're going to watch every single thing he did and have Amon-Ra
I can see that happening
all week.
Mm-hmm. Dude, the way that Jahmyr Gibbs looked, like, we're not going to be able to stop him in our defensive line. Like,
he's good for 20 points.
He's going to go off, man. I just have this, like, I was just, like, looking at our defensive line, it's just like, dude, this is not good.
Also, congratulations, Joe. And not only winning the Blubber Bowl, about being the very first person in league history to fuck up your roster.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Tell us about that experience. What'd you do?
He had a taxi squad accident.
That sounds funny.
Please explain that.
Yeah, no, I moved who was it? A.T. Perry. Because I wanted just to test that, like, see how that system worked. And like, it was like, okay, I'm probably gonna end up cutting A.T. Perry like at the end of the season anyway.
Sure.
Joe realized that he couldn't put someone back into the taxi squad, and then messaged me and was like,
Can you do this?
This shit's broken. I was like, no.
That's how it works, you idiot.
He was like, oh, well, it's just A.T. Perry. I'll probably cut him anyway. And I was like, nah, dude, I'll do you a solid. I just put him back into the taxi squad. Good commissioner.
Yeah. I mean, good commissioners that already have the can't veto things on fucking, like, the settings.
Oh, yeah. I do not believe in votes to veto trades. That is anti-competitive. If you're upset about another team getting better, you should have made a trade. Vetoes should not be a thing in fantasy. Yeah. Period.
You should be in every conversation.
The commissioner should cancel trades that are clearly collusion and, bullshit.
And hold conversations about it.
And have conversations with teams that are doing things that look really strange, like trading Christian McCaffrey for a kicker. But don't do that. There's a difference between trading Christian McCaffrey for a kicker and trading Christian McCaffrey for a fringe running back who's been in the league for like 2 years in a weird committee and a pick. Like, that's a bad trade, but that's not. Yeah. If you want to break your roster, who am I to say don't do that? But at the same time, there's a fine line.
How would that even happen at this point? Because I don't think you can sign a kicker to your active roster.
Well, this would be more like if the Christian McCaffrey owner offered me Christian McCaffrey for Tim Patrick, who
right. I mean,
is out for the season,
bullshit trades,
and like my fourth running back. Like, that's clearly anti-competitive, and there would be a conversation about it. Like, what is the strategy here? Why are you making this trade? But we've actually had only a single trade in league history so far, and that's a rather inconsequential one between Steve and Josh, where they traded their late picks next season.
Wait, really? That happened?
Yeah. Josh thinks that his team's going to be great and Steve's team's going to suck, and I think that trade's hilarious. But
I mean, okay, I guess.
It's also the biggest nothing burger.
Yeah, it matters.
Eventually, like, trades will start happening.
Trades will start happening probably later in the season when people see where they're at. Once their team shows their true colors and people are hurt.
After their entire team gets hurt.
Yeah. Or if they're just so out of it that, they want to make some roster space now to load up on picks and get some younger guys next year,
That's a rough cycle.
I don't expect trades to be super common until like year 3 anyway, because our rosters are going to be good. All of our rosters are going to be good for a while, but eventually there's not going to be parity. Our rosters are going to be a lot more uneven in several years once
the turnover of the NFL will start to, and the attrition of the game will start to take on a lot.
Hey, you leave my old man alone.
I mean, just that, and like, I think we already see like the IR stuff like starting to creep up. I mean,
my IR is full already.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are going to be people who are going to have to start searching the waiver wire for like random ass people pretty soon.
And there's still some gems out there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Especially
it's only a 12-team league. Yeah,
people who are really going to be competing. Like, there are a lot of defensive gems at every single position. People who are going to
Dude, there are non-hidden gems. There's Darius Slay out on the waiver wire.
I mean, yeah, exactly. They're sitting right there. Pick them.
Or Marshawn Lattimore. That's another guy who went the fuck off this week.
Yeah, he's on the waiver wire.
Marshawn Lattimore, veteran, solid.
I mean, he's only been in the league 6 years. Like, he has a lot of dynasty relevance still.
Absolutely.
As long as he doesn't, like, get Aaron Rodgers.
The thing is that the projections are so fucked up that during our startup draft, players like that who should have been drafted weren't, because the way that it scores the projections is based on projected totals, and you'll notice the projections for IDP matter so little.
Yeah, they're
scoring. Look, the deal is that the scoring favors safeties, right? So
yeah, that's true.
So you have really great cornerbacks who make fantastic plays, and because they're pass defense, they wind up 2 or 3 of them turn into a monster game for a cornerback. Mm-hmm. And that's like not outside of the realm of possibility for a very good cornerback. It's just going to happen irregularly for a bad one. I mean, they're infrequent though, so the projections for them are relatively low, and you're projected only for 4 points. So again, you have to like think about your matchups, think about who you're going to be, like who's the CB1 going to be matching up against, where is the route tree going to be, like thinking about.
Well, I mean, a good example is like Tariq Woolen. Like,
yeah,
he just shadowed like Van Jefferson the entire game, and didn't do that much against Puka.
Like that's a great interest.
Yeah, and didn't get any targets. Like Kobe Bryant was like maybe Bobby Wagner were like the 2 best IDP players on the Seahawks, and they're clearly not the best. Like, well, maybe Bobby's the best.
Julian Love got a PD and a bunch of tackles, so I think he
probably
was
over 10.
I only know this because I played him.
I mean, but if you get an IDP player with over 10 points, that's still like a pretty good game for that.
That's a great outing for an IDP player. Yeah, 10 points is a good outing.
I mean, 10 points is a good outing for anybody. You want 10 points as your floor at every position.
Yeah, it's not always going to happen for an IDP player, but
it's going to happen a lot more because of overall the scoring is pretty generous with how Steve and I set it up. First downs get extra points. Quarterbacks get extra points for first downs and rushing first downs. They still produce points like crazy because of passing. Offensively or defensively, you have buco points for touchdowns. Like 20 points for a pick six is a lot.
I mean, if you've got like Micah Parsons, like he gets like 3 or 4 like quarterback hits and a sack, like that's your 10 right there.
Yeah.
Regardless, just beyond.
And that's intended. That's a big game. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of impact.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's just like offensively,
something that's possible.
Offensively, that's pretty similar day to getting 100 yards and a handful of catches with no touchdowns. That's a lot of impact. So
yeah, well, y'all, it's time for me to wrap this up because I need to take the dog for a walk. I can hear him protesting in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've got a lot of good. It was a lot of football that happened that everyone was really excited for, and now we get to enjoy next week, and there's less anticipation.
There'll be more tilt though.
There will be more tilt. The tilt increases throughout the season.
Lots more tilt. Well, yeah, don't forget to set your lineup, and don't forget about defense, and don't forget about the waiver wire. But yeah. We'll definitely be seeing you all soon.
Yep. Never forget, defense wins championships.
And Steve sucks.
Steve sucks.
Later, Steve.
Bye.
Bye-bye.